Welcome back. Today we're making this beautiful Macrame Suncatcher. Hello friends. Before we begin, let's go over the materials. We're going to need some synthetic cord in whatever color you prefer, a small hoop ring. Mine is actually a bangle that I got from the dollar store, but you can use any metal hoop that you find at your craft store. You're also going to need some chains and some jump rings. This handy little kit I got off of Amazon. I'll leave a link for you in the description box, as well as the other products I use for this project. You're also going to need a couple of pliers in order to bend our jump rings. And of course you're going to need your sparkly Suncatcher stones. I also bought this off of Amazon. Link is in the description box. And since we're using synthetic rope, we're going to need a lighter to melt our ends. And what I do find handy, but is optional, is a couple of T-pins and a macrame board. If you don't have either, you can always use some tape to tape down your work. Alright, so let's get started. First, I'm going to pin down my hoop ring, and what we're going to do is attach 4 cords using a lark's head knot. To tie a lark's head knot, you want to fold your cord in half and then take the loop end and send that down through the center of your ring. Then pull your tail ends through the loop. Alright, so I'm going to repeat the same thing and attach our other 3 cords using the lark's head knot. Next, we're going to section it off, and we're going to take the 4 cords that are directly in the center. And with these 4 cords, we're going to tie a square knot. To tie a square knot, you want to take your leftmost cord and place it over top of the 2 center cords. Then with your rightmost cord, you want to place that behind and through the loop of your left. Cinch up the slack all the way up to the top. This is only half of your square knot, so to complete the other half, you want to do the same thing, but to the other side. So this time, make a loop with your rightmost cord, then with your leftmost cord, place it behind and through the loop. Alright, so that is how you tie a square knot. Now what we're going to do is create a diagonal line with double half hitch knots. With your second cord, you want to place that across your square knot, diagonally. This is going to be your filler cord. Then with the next cord, you're going to make a loop, wrap the tail around and through the loop once, and then repeat one more time, make a loop and wrap your tail end through that loop. And that is how you tie a double half hitch knot. So we're going to repeat this one more time on the left hand side with the next cord in line. Alright, so that's half of it done. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, only we're going to grab the second to last cord, place that across towards the center, then grab your next cord in line, and we're going to tie another double half hitch knot. So you may have noticed the first and last cord we did not work. We're going to leave those for now, and we're going to come back to them later on. I thought I'd point that out just in case you were wondering what to do with the first and last 2 cords. Okay, so once you've finished your 2 knots on both sides, you want to cross your 2 filler cords over and tie another double half hitch knot using your filler cords. It doesn't matter which side you tie this knot on, all we're trying to do is just close the gap. Alright, so we finished the first point. Now we need to do several more. However, the next ones are going to look a little different. With our second section, we're going to attach 3 lark's head knots this time, not 4 like we did with the first set. Now this pattern is a moderate difficulty level, so I don't really recommend it for beginners. But I think a beginner can manage if you're very confident in your knot tying skills. I'm going to leave the judgment up to you whether you're comfortable or not, But I do have a friendly reminder that if you need to see what I'm doing a little bit more slowly, you can always adjust the speed of this video by tapping the 3 dots on the top right corner. Alrighty, once you have your 3 lark's head knots attached, you want to take the first 4 strands and tie a square knot. Now remember what we did with the first section, how we skipped the first and last 2 cords? Well, we're going to use the last cord this time, and that is going to be the cord that we're going to use for our filler cord in our next section. So take that last cord and place it over across your square knot, and then with your next 2 cords in line, we're going to tie double half hitch knots. I sure hope that wasn't confusing. Essentially what we're doing is we're borrowing the last cord on our first set in order to use it for our filler cord for our double half hitch knots. Now take your second to last cord, just like we did in our previous section, and use that one as our filler cord and tie another 2 double half hitch knots. Next, cross your 2 filler cords over and tie 1 more double half hitch knot to close in the gap. Alright, so we're going to repeat our second section here until we go all the way around our ring. But the very last section is going to be different as well, so I'm going to meet you back over there and explain it a little bit better. Okay, so we made it all the way around and we only have 2 cords left. So just as always, you want to fold your cord in half and attach it onto a ring using a lark's head knot. Now if you're finding it a little too squishy, you can always slide some of your work around the ring a little bit and push it over, and that will give you just a little bit more room. Once you've finished attaching both cords, we're going to take those 4 sets of cords and tie a square knot. And just like always, we're going to borrow our last cord on our previous section and use that as our filler cord and tie a couple of double half hitch knots. But for our other side, I don't know if you remember the very beginning, but we skipped the very first cord here. Now that cord we're going to use for our other side of our very last section. And of course, once you're finished tying your double half hitch knots, you're going to cross your filler cords and tie 1 more. Alrighty, so once you've gone all the way around, this is what your sun catcher should look like. Now, this is very cute on its own, but as you can see with my previous one here, some of the sections are a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did that, but you can totally skip this step and just leave it as it is. Alright, so let's get into it. Right in between 2 of our sections, you want to grab 1 cord on either side, and you want to cross that over. So you're going to take the cord that's on the left side and use that as the filler cord, and we're going to tie 3 double half hitch knots. Now your work may be a little bit crowded and there might be a lot of strings going on here, so just be very cautious and make sure that you're tying each string in line. Don't get them confused, make sure you're going straight in a row. Okay, so once you've tied all 3, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So you want to locate the 2 cords that are right in the very middle, one on opposite sides of each section. Then the cord that's on your rightmost side, you want to cross that over and use it as your filler cord, and tie 3 more double half hitch knots. And don't worry, this part of the knotting is going to be super quick because we're actually doing every other section, not every single one all the way around like we were before. This part goes fast, I promise you. Okay, so once you finish tying all 3, you want to cross your 2 filler cords over and tie 1 more double half hitch knot. Now, like I said, we're doing every other one, so we're going to skip the next one, turn our work, and do the next one after that. And just a tip, make sure you pull all your cords down so that they're not all jumbled. So just like before, you want to cross the 2 center cords over, and then with your leftmost cord, that's going to be your filler cord, and then you're going to tie your 3 double half hitch knots all the way towards the top, or the middle, or the center point. I'm sure you know what I mean. Anyways, once you finish tying all 3 double half hitch knots, repeat the same thing to the other side. And we're going to do the same thing all the way around our hoop. Alrighty, before we go ahead, we're going to create our hanger, and you want to do it right on the smaller point, not the 2 larger ones. You want to make sure you're doing it at the smaller point. So grab the top 2 cords on that smaller point, and you want to tie just a regular overhand knot. Cinch it up nice and taut. This is going to be the hanger of our sun catcher. Now, this is the part you got to be super cautious. We're going to start trimming and fusing our ends. Now, this is better to work in sections, and I like to start on the left-hand side from where our hanger is, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Okay, so fold your hanger out of the way so you don't cut it. Then very carefully with your scissors, you want to snip all your loose ends off, leaving, I don't know, maybe about 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters in length. You want just a small little bit of length left because we're going to take our lighter and we're going to melt it down. You want a little bit of length in order for it to melt. Make sure you keep your hanger cords well out of the way for this. Melt down your loose ends, and then I like to push it down with the side of my lighter and just push it towards the back. That way it gets a nice fuse onto the back of our work. Now I like to do the same thing on the other side, the right hand side of our hanger. So give it a good snip, trimming it, leaving it about 1 millimeter or 2 in length. And be very careful not to trim your hanger. Melt it down, and again, don't melt your hanger. And then use the side or the back of your lighter to push it down. Now, the reason why I like to start on opposite sides of the hanger is so that I don't accidentally snip it off. When you're in the flow of it and you're going all the way around, it's very easy to just get scissor happy and just cut it all off. But of course, you want to snip off the excess length of your hanger and then fuse the end so it doesn't fray. And now what we're going to do is attach our beautiful stones onto our sun catcher. So get your 2 pliers handy, and we're going to start by attaching the first one right in the center. So grab your jump ring and one of your pliers, and we're just going to bend our jump ring open ever so slightly. Then we're going to grab our sun catcher, and we're going to find the very center, right at the very top below our hanger, and we're going to attach our jump ring. Next, we're going to attach our chain right onto that jump ring and close it up. I forgot to mention that what you're attaching your jump ring onto is the ring of your hoop, not your cord. Okay, so open up another jump ring, and you're going to go ahead and take one of your sun catcher stones and thread it right through the hole. And then attach that onto the bottom of your chain. Then very carefully with your pliers, you want to close your jump ring. I do have to say, I've never felt more like a surgeon ever. Alrighty, so with your surgical hands, you want to attach 3 more, but at the larger points of our sun catcher. So just like before, you want to open up your jump ring, but this time we're going to attach it right at the point of our rope, right at the base. Attach your chain, and then open up another jump ring and attach your gem. Repeat again to the left-hand side, and then you want to repeat one more time to the right. If you need a little bit of sunshine to go with this sun catcher, check out the pattern on the screen now, and I'll see you over there.